Welcome back. So we're now ready to get started and open up the Microsoft application. But how do we do that? Depending on what laptop you're using or computer. So if it is a company computer, most IT departments will add the applications on your taskbar. In my case, it's a new computer, so I don't have it there. So how else are we able to open up Excel? There are various ways. I'm going to show you the long way, and then also going to show you how to add it to the taskbar if you do not have it there. So let's open up Excel. At the bottom left-hand side, you've got your little window, or we call it a start menu. When you click on that, it opens up the start window where all your applications are listed in alphabetical order. Because Excel starts with an E, we're going to scroll down to your E's. If you wanted to, you could just open it up right here. But if you wanted to add it on the taskbar, because that is actually the quickest and easiest way of opening Excel, you can just right-click on the Excel icon, move down to where it says More, and then click on Pin to Taskbar. The moment you do that, you'll notice that it is now appearing on your taskbar. The great thing about this is there's less ticks. So if you do start your computer, you can just immediately go to your taskbar and click on Excel, and it will open up your window. To create a blank new workbook, you can just click on Blank Workbook. Clicking on it opens up Microsoft Excel, and you can now start working in your Excel application. When you are in Excel and you want to keep Excel open, but you just want to close your workbook, you do not have to close down the whole of Microsoft Excel. So to close the workbook within Excel, you can click on the File tab and click on Close. It keeps open Microsoft Excel, and you can see that because it's now a gray area in front of you and no more blocks or cells as we call it in Excel. To close down the whole of Excel or exit out of Excel, you will notice on the top right hand corner that you can just click on the Close button, which is a cross. When you click on it, it closes down the whole of Excel. So let's open up Excel again and go through the window interface. In the course section of Excel, you will have this window. So if you've forgotten what the different options of your Excel window are, you can then just take a look at this to remind you. I'm going to go through it within Excel so that it's also a visual representation of exactly what I'm talking about. So on the very top of Excel, you have your title bar. The title bar displays the quick access toolbar, the file name, the Excel application, so what you're working in, your search bar, as well as your minimize, maximize, and close buttons. The quick access toolbar on the left-hand side displays icons that you regularly use and have quick access to them. So when you first open up Excel, you'll have a save, undo, and redo button, but you can click on the More option to add more icons to your quick access toolbar. And it's exactly that. Instead of clicking on File Save, you can just click on your Save icon. To add more of these icons, for instance, New, if you wanted to create a new blank workbook, clicking on the New button will then add it to your quick access toolbar. Clicking back on the More options, now there is a tick next to New, so you can see now that anything with a tick is displayed on your quick access toolbar, and anything without one is obviously not there. So you are welcome to pause the video and go and add the most common commands that you will use within Excel, which is the open, so the new and the open. I like to use the print preview and print. Spelling, you might think is not important, but I promise you it is. And your sort ascending and sort descending is also a great feature. That's when you start working in using Excel as a database, which I use quite often. If I'd made a mistake, I can just click back on that arrow and click back on the sort descending, and it will remove it from here. Same goes with ABCs. I'm going to remove it a different way. So if you right click on the ABC, you can also say remove from quick access toolbar, and your toolbar is now customized to your preference. You then have a ribbon. This whole section over here with a whole bunch of little icons is called your ribbon. You have different tabs within your ribbon. For instance, your File tab, Home tab, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, and Help. The only reason why I have Acrobat is because I have an extra application, but you might not have Acrobat on your system, which is not a problem at all. Within the ribbon, we have then it is separated into groups. So if you look in your Home tab, which is the most common tab, you have your clipboard group. And the clipboard group is made up of icons or commands related to your clipboard. So for instance, copying, cutting, pasting, and so forth. Next to each clipboard, or some of them, shall I say, are little blocks. And these are just extra options that you can use that will open up a separate dialog box. So you can see in the font group, things related to your font or your text you can then manipulate. So make your text bold or underline or different color, apply shading and borders and things like that. And if I clicked on the little block next to the group name, it'll open up another dialog box with extra features. So this little dialog box is my font. I've just opened up the group font. You'll notice that next to alignment also has a block, and that would open up the alignment group within this text box, as well as number, there is number, and so forth. So this is just extra features that you can open up if required. If you wanted to hide your ribbon and you wanted to see more information, the quickest way to do that is moving your mouse onto the Home tab and double clicking with your mouse. It will then just collapse your ribbon. If you wanted to use it again, click on the Home tab and it will then display, and when you click away, it will be hidden again. For the purpose of training, we will keep it docked or locked. So you can just double click back on the Home tab and it will then lock your ribbon back in place. You can also right-click on a tab and say collapse the ribbon, and right-click and untick collapse the ribbon. For me personally, that's a longer way, but most people like their right-clicks. The next part of the window is your formula bar, which is the section just below your ribbon. The formula bar displays text, numbers, and formulas as you enter something within a cell. So if I type my name, you will notice that as I'm typing in the cell, it will also appear in the formula bar. When I press enter, it applies it. I'm on the next cell. So if I click back on the cell of my name where I typed it, you can edit the information within the cell by double clicking, or you can edit the information in the formula bar. So it doesn't matter where you edit it, whether it's in the formula bar or in the cell, it does the exact same thing. The moment you do start typing or edit your information, the formula bars cross and tick activate. Clicking on the cross with whatever you had typed in will cancel whatever it is that you typed. Clicking on the tick will apply it and it will stay within your cell. So if I started typing my name, if I clicked on the cancel, it will cancel that out. And you saw that when I clicked on the tick, it applied it. To the left of the formula bar area is your name box. And the name box is basically a cell reference. So wherever you click, that is your active cell, and it is always made up of a row and column. So cell A1 is made up of column A and row 1. If I click elsewhere on my Excel spreadsheet, the little border will be displayed around the cell that I've clicked, and it will also show which cell I am in. So the name box is now showing C4. So the intersection of column C and row 4 would be the ID of my actual cell. Every cell in Excel is unique and has a specific cell reference. The FX on the formula bar is a way of inserting a function. We will learn about functions and formulas later on in the course. It will actually open up the insert function dialog box. Then, of course, as I've already discussed, you have the Excel worksheet where you can start entering the information, and it is made up of columns, and these are the columns, A, B, C's, and rows 1, 2, 3, and so forth. At the bottom of your Excel window, you have got your status bar. This displays the working status of your workbook. For instance, is it ready to start using? It also shows calculations. So once you start entering information, and if you make a selection within your Excel spreadsheet, it will give you some calculations, which is just a temporary way of looking at your information. So it'll show the average of those 3 values. The count basically has counted 3 entries, and the sum will add up the selection, which is quite useful. To the right of the status bar, you will then see your views. your different views, as well as your zoom area, which we will be also covering a little bit later on in the course. Just above your status bar, you will see your worksheet names. When you open up Excel for the first time, it will show sheet 1, a bunch of arrows, and a plus, which is a way of inserting a new worksheet. Clicking on that plus will basically just insert a brand new worksheet, and a worksheet is also, they have unique names, so every time we insert it, we'll give it the name sheet and add a different number to it. Just very briefly, if you wanted to change the name of a worksheet, you can just double click on it and rename it to something else. For instance, let's say we want to name this Van and press enter, and that's basically how you can rename. You can then move your mouse on top of Jan and click and drag to move it around. So we covered this in the intermediate course, which is very, very useful if you start working with budgets and larger worksheets. To the right of that area is your scroll bars. So within Excel, normally we work with very large spreadsheets, so we will need to scroll to the right. So as you click on the arrows to the right, you can see that you are moving. You can also use the solid thick bar by clicking and dragging rather than using the arrows to the left or the right. You also then have your vertical scroll bars where you can then click on the arrows down to go down or up. You can also use the thick white bar to scroll very quickly up and down. That is the end of this lesson where we have completed the window interface, opening and closing Excel. You're now going to learn to work with the mouse options and how you can get help in Excel in the next lesson. Take care and enjoy.